Today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 8 in our Leadership and Organizations book. So Chapter 8 goes over a lot of interesting things, a lot more interesting than I've actually read so far. It goes over a leader as a culture maker, a leader as a sense maker, and the power of expectations, the Pygmalion effect. So, Chapter 8. Organizations are the product of communication. As organizational members communicate, they develop shared meanings that form organizations' unique way of seeing the world. So it's teams and groups coming together and forming ideas for companies, making the company stand out with a certain effect. Cultures are made up of underlying assumptions, values, symbols, and symbolic creations called artifacts. So a way a company runs is their culture. A company wants to run off a certain spark. They want to be team-oriented or they want to be more individual-oriented. It all depends on the company's culture. A good example is the company Zappos. No matter how smart you are, if you don't fit into this company's culture, they will never hire you. They care about culture first. That's how important culture is. They want people to run in unison together. They want everyone to have the same sort of mindset. You can embed and transmit culture by primary and secondary mechanisms. Primary mechanisms are the most important elements for shaping culture. What you pay attention to, how you react to critical incidents, the way you spend budget monies, how you role model, the criteria you select for allocation of rewards, and criteria you use for selection. Secondary mechanisms reinforce primary messages, how you mold the organizational structure, how you utilize organizational systems and procedures, your use and rites and rituals, how you design physical space to reinforce key values, the stories you tell, how about important events and people, and the way you communicate organizational philosophy. So the way you communicate along an organization and how it helps culture. Help your organization create new ways of responding to challenges. Develop its adaptive capacity by surfing difficult issues, sharing responsibility for the performance of the organization, valuing independent judgment. It's super important to stick your foot in the door or get your voice out there. A lot of companies, they're getting more culture based now. So if you're able to go out there and make the culture a little bigger in a way that the company wants to be, then that is very good. Effective leaders build cultures that are committed to learning. Learning organizations are skilled at generating and acquiring knowledge and then using that information to modify their behavior. So like what we've talked about a lot in the past, an important leader makes for the followers to speak their mind in order for them to figure out the leader inside of them. You will need to function as a learner/teacher who promotes information gathering through intelligence, which is a collection of data, collective experience, or experimentation. Then make sure that this knowledge is widely shared and disseminated. So it is very important to share your knowledge with all your followers and to share your knowledge with everyone in your organization so they know what mindset you're in, so it fits the culture. Trust is critical to the success of any organization. I've never seen an organization thrive off distrust. Organizational trust is the collective level of positive expectations that coworkers, work units, and organizations will honor their commitments. Trusting organizational cultures are marked by high expectations of collective competence. So it's being able to bring people into your culture and make sure they are competent enough to do the work that you want them to do. When trust is broken, you will need to 1, determine what happened, 2, determine the depth and breadth of the loss of trust, 3, own up to the loss. Don't ignore or downplay it. That'll just make things significantly worse. And 4, identify what you must accomplish in order to rebuild this trust. So if you lose trust, it's going to be a fight in order to get that trust back. You never just lose trust and gain it back like that. You have to take blame for it. You have to fix it. You have to show that you are willing to be trusted again. Organizational leaders function as sense makers who help followers interpret or make sense of events and conditions. Skillful sense makers keep followers in motion, improvise, let go of belief that they all have all the answers, ask followers for help, and determine what organization has learned through the sense-making process. Framing, which is creating a mental picture of the world and then encouraging followers to accept the frame or interpretation, is one important sense-making tool. Adopt a strategic communication style to become more successful in framing reality. Organizational success depends on getting units and groups to work together. Create an intergroup relationally identify, encouraging team members to define themselves as both organizational and subgroup members. Act as a boundary spanner, developing quality relationships in individuals from every team. To create a high expectation / high performance cycles, build a warm climate, delegate important responsibilities, solicit ideas, and provide frequent positive feedback. You have to encourage people to work hard. You have to give them positive feedback. You can't just keep hammering them down if they do something wrong. Say, you did this right, but you could do this a little better, but great job on the work so far. I know you can get it done. You have to be positive in your feedback. Self-expectations, called the Gallatin effect, also influence performance. Protect yourself from power of negative leadership expectations by setting high standards for yourself. If you set a high standard for yourself, then you are able to be more of a leader. You want to find the leader within you, and you also want a leader that will also find the leader within you so you can do better. You want to fit the criteria of the culture of the company so you are able to do the best you can inside of that culture company.